Hi, a year ago, at the beginning of 2025, I started this course about the Yocto Project and OpenEmbedded on a Raspberry Pi 5. So far, I have created 12 episodes, and in all of them, we used core-image-based with a command line interface. A lot of people asked about graphical user interfaces, so now in episode number 13 and January 2026, it's finally time to open this chapter and explore Wayland and Weston. For this purpose, apart from Raspberry Pi 5, I'll be also using the official 7-inch Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2. Wayland is a modern Linux display protocol that defines the communication between a display server and its clients. There are many different open source implementations of display servers that work with Wayland. They're typically called Wayland compositors. It is up to you to pick up a compositor that suits your needs best. Wayland has been designed as a replacement of the old version 11 of the X windowing system, also known as X11. So Wayland brings a lot of new features and better performance compared to X11. However, if you have an old graphical user interface application developed for X11 that you want to run on Wayland, you can use the adaptation layer called X-Wayland. Weston is the reference Wayland compositor that is provided as part of the Wayland project. It is very minimalistic and simple, which makes it useful for embedded devices. The source code is entirely open source and it is written primarily in the C programming language. The easiest way to build an image using the Yocto Project and OpenEmbedded that features Wayland and Weston is to bitbake core-image-weston. I use the same build machine and the same build environment that you know from my previous Yocto tutorials. As part of the preparation for this video, I have already updated all layers to the latest version of the ScarpGraph branches. I initialized the build environment, and immediately after that I've opened with the Vim text editor conf/local.conf. At the end of the file, I've extended the rpi_extra_config variable. The reason to do this is to support the official 7-inch Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2 by modifying the config.txt file. This is something very specific for Raspberry Pi. Config.txt is a text configuration file located on the FAT boot partition. The Raspberry Pi bootloader reads the configurations from it. Think of it as the BIOS on your PC, but for Raspberry Pi. So in order to get the Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2 working, I need to set this variable in config.txt file display_auto_detect equals to 1. This way the Raspberry Pi bootloader will automatically detect the display and load the appropriate device tree binary overlays. After saving the changes to local.conf, I typed in bitbake core-image-weston. This is a recipe that provides a very basic Wayland image with a terminal. It contains Wayland display protocol, Weston the reference Wayland compositor, and a very simple terminal application. Of course, in order to support a graphical user interface, core-image-weston brings significantly more dependencies and packages compared to core-image-base that we used in previous episodes. But things didn't work out. There is something wrong. Oops, sorry. I forgot something. I need to edit my local.conf again. However, I'm keeping this part of the video because I wanted to show you that bitbake provides really useful feedback and error messages based on which we can quickly debug and fix problems like this. core-image-weston tries to build Weston-X-Wayland to support X11 applications on Wayland. However, it fails because it requires PAM among the distro features, and as of the moment, we don't have it. The solution is straightforward and very simple. We need to add PAM to the distro features. PAM stands for Pluggable Authentication Module. If you remember, in episode number 3, I showed you how to run Docker containers, and because of this, I've extended the distro features with the virtualization feature. Now, I'm going to edit the same line and add PAM to it. After that, I saved local.conf and run again the command bitbake core-image-weston. Building and cross-compiling core-image-weston takes some time because it involves more than 8,000 different tasks. Let's take a moment to explore how this works. Obviously, core-image-weston includes Wayland and Weston. The recipes for them are provided as part of OpenEmbedded core. We're using Yocto release scarpgaf and there is a separate branch for it. So Weston version is number 13 and the version of Wayland is 1.22. Newer versions are available in the master branch or in the newer releases. The Weston recipe has a package configuration for X Wayland. When we have X11 and Wayland in our distro features, this is our use case actually, this brings X Wayland as a dependency. Furthermore, at the beginning of the Weston recipe, there is a line that requires the required distro features include file. It inherits features check and makes sure that we have distro features Wayland and OpenGL. Furthermore, if we are using systemd, PAM is also required. We have been using systemd since the very first episode, and because of this, earlier we saw this error which we fixed. At the end of this code review, let's have a quick look at the X Wayland recipe. This is an X server running as a Wayland client. The purpose is backward compatibility for running legacy X11 applications on top of Wayland. Although I can just connect an HDMI monitor and run Weston on it, I decided to use the official 7-inch Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2 for this video. So I have connected it to my Raspberry Pi 5. I have a dedicated video that explains the wiring in details. Here I'm just going to summarize that I have this flexible cable connected to one of the two connectors for a display available on Raspberry Pi 5, and I'm also powering the display from the 5 volts that are part of the 40-pin header of Raspberry Pi 5. It's showtime. Let's have a look at Weston on Raspberry Pi 5. After completing all the steps that you saw in the previous chapter, I used the command line interface command bmap tool to flash core-image-weston to a micro SD card. As you can see, I have already attached my Raspberry Pi 5 to the display, and because of the position of the flexible cable, it is a little bit tricky to plug the micro SD card with bare hands. Because of this, instead I used tweezers. I also connected USB to UART debug dongle. This way I can have serial communication between my computer and the Raspberry Pi 5. Finally, I plugged the USB-C power supply to turn on the Raspberry Pi 5 and the official Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2. As I mentioned, the display is connected and powered from the 40-pin header of the Raspberry Pi. The system booted. Weston was automatically launched, everything works, the touchscreen is working properly, so I can open a terminal, move it around the screen. However, surprise, surprise, by default, this display works in portrait mode. The screen resolution is 720 by 1280 pixels. Both the 7 and the 5-inch official Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2 versions work in portrait mode. I personally find this very inconvenient, so let's rotate it from the Weston settings from portrait to landscape. If you remember, while plugging all cables to my Raspberry Pi 5, I've also attached a USB to UART debug dongle. This way I can remotely access the Raspberry Pi from my computer. You're familiar with this procedure from my previous tutorials about the Yocto Project and OpenEmbedded. I bet you won't be surprised if I tell you that I'm a Linux user and I use Ubuntu on my PCs. So here I open the terminal in GNOME. This is the desktop environment that comes with Ubuntu, and inside the terminal I've executed the screen command to establish serial communication between my PC and the Raspberry Pi 5. I've logged in as root. The main configuration file for Weston is called weston.ini and it's located at /etc/xdg/weston/weston.ini. As root, using the v-text editor, I opened this file and added a new section to rotate the screen. The section name is output and inside of it I have 3 new lines. The first one is name equals to DSI-2. This is because I've connected the Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2 to the second connector on the Raspberry Pi 5. If you are using the other connector, you should use here DSI-1. The next line that I added is about the mode, which defines the screen resolution. And finally comes the most important line, which is going to rotate from portrait to landscape. It is transform equals to rotate-90. Basically, this is going to rotate the whole screen to 90 degrees. I saved the configuration changes and after that, using system control, I've restarted Weston. If you remember at the beginning of this course, in the very first episode, we switched our custom distribution from System 5, which is used by default in Pocket, the reference distribution of the Yocto project, to Systemd. So now I'm using the tools from Systemd to restart the Systemd service responsible for Weston. Let's have a look how this will work out from another point of view. As you can see, initially we had Weston running in the portrait mode, and after executing this systemd command to restart Weston with the new configuration, the screen automatically rotated and now we have it in landscape mode. No need to reboot the Raspberry Pi 5, I just restarted the systemd service responsible for Weston. One more thing, during development, for debugging purposes, you may want to have a look at the log files of Weston. By default, the recipe that provides Weston for the Yocto project release scarpgov does not save the output from Weston to a log file. So in order to enable logging, we need to modify the systemd service. First, I typed in systemctl status Weston. The result contains a lot of useful information, including the full path to the systemd service. So once again, I have to use the v-text editor to open weston.service. Systemd services have a very strict structure and syntax. Inside weston.service, I located the section called service and I modified the line with prefix exec start. I added the log argument, and the file to which Weston should log its output is /var/log/weston.log. However, that's not all, because the systemd service for Weston runs as user Weston, so I have to make sure that user Weston have access to the file in which I want to keep the Weston logs. So first I created this file using the touch command. I did it as user root, so the next thing that I had to do was to change the ownership of this file to user Weston and group Weston. For this purpose, I've executed the chown command. Now comes the systemd magic. First, I executed systemctl daemon reload to ensure that the changes to the systemd service will take effect. After that, I've typed in systemctl restart Weston. You are already familiar with this command from the previous chapter of the video. I use it to restart the systemd service responsible for Weston. As a result, after the restart, the Weston process will be logging its output to a text file. I use the systemctl status command to verify that the Weston service is properly running after the restart, and after that I had a look at the log file. The information from the log file is very convenient if you are experiencing a problem that you want to debug. For example, you can see the compositor capabilities or the various different modules that are loaded as part of Weston. Here we did a few things at runtime that regular users are not supposed to do. And although they may consider it rocket science, in reality for an experienced engineer this is super simple and straightforward. So, as a conclusion, we can summarize that in this video tutorial we explored core-image-weston, which brings the Wayland display protocol and the reference Wayland compositor implementation called Weston. We modified local.conf to apply a change at build time to config.txt, which enables the Raspberry Pi touch display too. However, this display by default works in portrait mode, so after that at runtime I've showed you how to rotate Weston to landscape mode. Finally, we also explored how to enable and use Weston logging. Thank you very much for watching this video. As you have seen, it is straightforward and easy to get started with Wayland and Weston using the Yocto Project and OpenEmbedded on a Raspberry Pi 5, no matter if you are using an HDMI monitor or the official Raspberry Pi touch display too. I hope this video was useful or at least interesting. Please let me know in the comment below what kind of other topics you would like to see being covered as part of this course. Hit the like button and stay tuned for new videos. Hope to see you soon.